Today in Washington, DC with Rebekah Lipsky. Hello, Rebekah.
Hi there.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
Rebekah is a second-year master's student here in DC. She spent her first year at the Bologna Center, and she's going to be a tour guide for us today. She's going to show us a little bit of the area around the SAIS campus and also the SAIS building. So, Rebekah, thanks very much. What do we see here?
Of course. Well, we're starting off in DuPont Circle. This is the heart of DuPont. We have this beautiful fountain, and you can see all of the major roads going off, all in a big spoke pattern around the circle. This is really the heart of Northwest DC. All the major roads come together here, and there's lots of shopping, restaurants, bars, places to hang out. Beautiful open area parks here where you can relax on a sunny day, and it's really kind of the core of DC and is right next to where SAIS is located.
Everyone who follows our blog, Rebekah, knows how nice it is to live in Bologna, so we won't talk about that. But what's the nice thing about living in DC?
Well, the best thing for me about DC is just that it's a big, bustling city. I grew up in Seattle, Washington, right in the heart of the city. I lived in LA, in the center of the city, and Bologna is an amazing, amazing town, but being in DC, there's so much going on. There's always speakers and events and workshops, and then on the social side, there's tons of restaurants and bars and parties and things to do. So it's a very lively city, and it's really turned around a lot in the last couple of years. My friends who've been here for a long time say that it's just becoming more and more exciting as the years go by. There's a great youth population here, a lot of people who are really excited about being in DC, passionate about politics and knowledge and current events and international affairs. So you go into a bar in DC and they're playing CNN, whereas when I went to a bar in LA, it was E! News. So it's great to be around people who are passionate about the things that I am and that a lot of SAISers are passionate about. And are involved in making our country work and are passionate about making our country better and about international affairs, and it's all happening right here. We're in the center of it all.
Fantastic. Should we go visit the building?
Yeah, so
okay.
We're gonna head down Massachusetts Avenue.
Okay.
Right over here. I'll do my tour guide backward walk. So we're gonna head down Massachusetts, which is the street that SAIS is located on.
Right.
And we'll pass by some really cool landmarks while we're on our way to SAIS.
Right.
And I'll point them out as we go. So let's start walking.
Rebekah, we're on Massachusetts Avenue now. Before we go into the SAIS building, could you just say a couple words about Massachusetts Avenue and what it is?
Yeah, so here we are along Massachusetts. It's also known as Embassy Row and the home of SAIS. And right behind us is the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace.
Right.
It's a really well-known NGO. And then as we keep walking down, we'll see the Brookings Institution, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. It's considered by many to be the premier think tank in the U.S. and potentially in the world, and it's right across the street from SAIS.
This is the Brookings building, which is across the street from SAIS. We're standing in front of the Brookings Institute. You want to say a couple words about that?
Yeah, so right behind me is the Brookings Institution. Like I said, one of the best think tanks in the entire world. And having it right next to SAIS is a really great opportunity for our students, not only because we can come over and listen to lectures, which they have multiple times, almost every single day. You can hear really well-known people speak, but also we had an opportunity for some SAIS students to present at Brookings earlier this year. I went on a SAIS study trip to Lithuania and Belarus to study the elections, and after our trip to Minsk and to Vilnius, we came back to SAIS in DC, and we put together a presentation, and two of the students who had gone on the trip actually came here to the Brookings Institution and presented at a conference in front of almost 200 people, and it was a really special event and something that we couldn't have done anywhere else but SAIS.
Our first shot of the main SAIS building, I should say. When I was here, Rebekah, there was only one SAIS building. It was this one. Say a little bit about this building, what we're going to see? Well,
so now we have three SAIS buildings. This is our main building, the NITSA building. Then we have Bob, which is right across the street, which stands for the Bernstein Offutt building. And then just down the corner, we have the Rome building,
right,
which is our third major building. So all very close to each other, but we do have three buildings.
Okay.
We're sandwiched right in between the Uzbek embassy and the Chilean embassy.
Right.
And there's a number of embassies that go down the street, Argentina, and then there's actually the Peterson Institute for Economics, which is a major economics think tank that's right next to the Uzbek embassy. So we're really in the heart of it all right here at SAIS. So why don't we head inside?
So here we see that bikes as a mode of transport is very much prevalent as it is in Bologna. Rebekah, you want to say a couple words about transport?
Yeah, so students at SAIS DC live all over the city, also in Maryland and in Virginia. A lot of students live close to campus so that they can just walk to campus, but there's also great public transportation in DC. Students will take the bus, they take the metro. SAIS is located just a 5-minute walk from the DuPont Circle metro station. And as you can see, lots and lots of students bike to campus as well.
Great. Should we go inside now?
Sure, let's head on
Go.
in.
Thank you.
No problem.
So what do we see here, Rebecca?
So here we are in the lobby of the News Building, which is the primary building for SAIS DC. We have our security guards, we have our couches where you can hang out, watch some TV. It changes what the channel is, but usually it's Al Jazeera right now. Sometimes we have CNN up on our TV.
Right.
We have our cafeteria over here where students can get a meal, hang out, work on group study projects together, make a Skype phone call back to home.
A bit quiet right now because people are in class, right?
Yeah, we have a class period that's going on right now. So normally if we were here a half hour before, it would be bustling and packed with students hanging out, chatting, eating their lunches. But right now it's sort of a downtime while everyone's in classrooms learning.
Right.
And then over here is Kenny Auditorium, which is our major space for having speakers come present.
Right.
You can see we have a SAIS step and repeat back there.
Right. Is this where Tim Geithner spoke?
So lots of amazing people have spoken here. Tim Geithner, Hillary Clinton spoke here over the summer. Just this week we had the Prime Minister of East Timor. I saw Anne Marie Slaughter, who's the head of policy planning at the State Department, speak here. Lots and lots of very well-known people come and speak to SAIS all the time to present new policies, to talk about important events, and to just speak with the SAIS community. Just yesterday, it wasn't in this building, but I saw Anderson Cooper speak over in the Bob building to only about 40 students. It was a very small room, and almost the entire 2 hours was devoted to question and answer, and we really got to talk to him about his work, his experience, how he sees journalism, how he sees it changing in the future, and it was a really amazing experience to get to be that close with what many people consider to be the foremost journalist of our time, and to have one-on-one conversations with him. In the Hawkins Library, it's 3 floors, starting on the 6th floor of our building, going all the way to the 8th floor. We have computers here that students can work on, copy machines for copying your books so that you can take them home and read them, all of our reserve books, and our very, very helpful reference librarians. So if you're ever writing a paper and you just have no idea where to start on doing your research, you just come right over here to the reference table, tell the person at the reference table, I'm writing a paper about the exchange rate of the ruble in Russia. Help, I don't know where to start. And she'll let you know all the resources, guide you through, and help you find what you're looking for.
Fantastic. Rebecca?
So here we are on the 8th floor of the library, and I'm going to talk quietly so that we don't disturb all the SAISers who are studying.
Okay.
And this is one of our study spaces. We have printers over here, so you can just print directly from your own laptop, quiet study areas, and lots of books. And we'll head out further into the 8th floor of our library, where there's more study space. So this is one of our group study rooms. You can reserve these rooms just right outside so that your friends can work on a problem set or a group presentation or a project or something else where you need to be able to talk and work together. You can use one of these rooms that all have the AV equipment that you would need, and it makes it really easy to get group work done since we do a lot of group work here at SAIS. And then over here is our periodical room.
Right.
You can have access to all the books, magazines you want to read. One of our major study spaces, and you can see SAIS students hard at work.
Yes, of course.
Basically, after the 1982 war, you had a situation where the next Palestine...
Rebecca, first I want to thank you for taking us on this tour, which has been very, very informative. I went here myself, but the place has changed a fair amount. So the last bit was to ask you why you chose SAIS. I know you applied to a number of other programs. You'd worked before coming here and decided to go into graduate school, like many of our applicants. Just tell us, what was there about SAIS that attracted you?
Yeah, well, for me, I was a career changer. So I had a couple of years experience, but in a completely unrelated career, and realized that international affairs was what I wanted to do, and decided that it was just going to be a complete toss-up. I was either going to get in everywhere I applied, or I was going to get nowhere I applied, and I was terrified going through the process. And so I applied to a number of schools. I actually applied to 10 schools, basically just the top 10 schools as they're ranked by foreign policy. I applied to all of them. And I originally was interested in a number of different schools and went on my visits and just had a really strong gut reaction to SAIS. I walked in the door at SAIS DC and I felt like, this is where I want to go to school. These are the people I want to hang out with. They're talking about the things that I'm interested in. All the students I met said that they were incredibly happy with their experiences. They had all, been accepted to a number of different institutions and picked SAIS and had never regretted that decision, had never looked back. And we're getting an incredible education, amazing opportunities, and the exact same thing happened for me. So,
what is it you're studying exactly? What's your concentration?
So I'm a strategic studies concentrator,
right.
And I came to SAIS wanting to focus on defense policy in Russia and Eurasia.
Right.
And that's what I did. I take Russian classes here. I'm taking courses on politics, economics, mostly focusing on Russia and Eurasia, but also casting a broad net, because at SAIS you really get a mix of doing the big picture international relations theories courses, history of diplomacy courses, the economics courses, but then also focusing in on your concentration.
Right.
But I ended up doing an internship last summer with Booz Allen Hamilton in Tbilisi, Georgia, which was a fantastic experience and something that I actually heard about through a Bologna Center alumni who I was put in touch with and spoke to her over Skype a couple of times, and then ended up going out and working with her. And she put me in touch with a number of other SAIS alums who were in Tbilisi, and we ended up having a SAIS alumni brunch one day when I was there, and we had about 15 SAIS alums who were all in Tbilisi, who were doing different jobs at USAID, Transparency International, Booz Allen, Millennium Challenge, at the State Department. And we all got together and got to hear about what each other was working on, how our lives were going, and they keep in touch and they see each other every couple of months. So that was a great experience for seeing really what the SAIS network can bring to you. That it's about career development, it's about professional connections, but it's also about personal connections. And I met some of my best friends at the Bologna Center, and they'll continue to be my best friends for the rest of my life. So I've never ever questioned the choice that I made to come to SAIS. I got exactly what I wanted out of it. I got a fantastic internship. I got a great job for when I graduate. I'm going to be working at McKinsey in DC, which is an experience that I'm incredibly thrilled to undertake. And I made amazing friends, and I learned more than I could ever possibly imagine that I would learn in graduate school. So to all of you out there who are trying to decide where you want to go, make sure you pick the location that's the best fit for you and the school that's the best fit for you. But all I can say is that SAIS really gave me everything that I could look for in a graduate experience, and I think that it would be a great choice and could give everything to you that you're looking for in a graduate experience.
Rebekah, thanks very much for those comments. Sounds like you're happy. And thanks for your time and the tour. All the best to you.